Welcome to Smileys. So we are doing Fall of Light chapter 14 today, and it's Lee's turn. He has, I think, 20 pages on Word.
Yeah,
So
more or
yeah,
less.
I have coffee with me. How are you, Lee?
I'm fairly good. In case it wasn't particularly obvious, this is rather literally Smiley's After Hours, in a more literal sense than I
Good.
wished.
Yeah.
We have 7,000 words and about 15 extra notes on top of the summary itself to go through, so I'm not going to bore you too much because I'm going to need to talk for a while. So, yeah. Laura has coffee, I have
Yes.
water, and we're going to
Oh.
start and see you on the other side.
If you say see you on the other side and people just click through to the end, that's going to be so
Yeah.
much fun, right?
Okay, well, yeah. So,
Let's start. It's a good chapter. Lots of fun stuff happening.
Fun is a matter of perspective, but I agree, yeah. Also, the audiobook's great, but enough gushing. Let's begin. So,
Yeah.
scene 1, I have named Why? Call it Glory. So,
Yeah.
shared memories of Yed and Narad seem to create a peculiar blend of multiple realities for the man. In his dreams, he walks a landscape that we can easily recognize as Lightfall, and therefore places him squarely in the memories of Derek, who I will not be referring to Yedan Derek as Yedan, because Yedan is a title, so I'm going to be referring to him as Derek for the purpose of the summary.
And when you say
But at
Yedan, do
his
you mean
side, yeah.
Narad? Sorry.
I generally try to avoid the word Yedan because of the confusion born between, Yedan Derek and Yedan Narad and the watch. So if I am referring to the title, I'm going to say the watch. Anyway, yeah. At his side stands a queen that called him brother, which is very much an Esdia. He refers to the makeshift army gathered, yeah?
The queen that called him brother could also be Twilight.
It could be Twilight, but the way she's described by Narad is very much,
It blends together. See, the thing is, can I
It
just
could
tell
blend
you,
together,
because
yeah.
we've been discussing this for a while, and I think you made a post also that things don't track. Yeah, but it's not supposed to, right? It's not going to be perfectly that this exact line is going to be Narad and this exact line is going to be Derek. It's all blending, and
Yeah.
it's a glorious mix, and I love it. And I don't really want to try to dissect it into pieces, but it's fun. It's good fun. Go on.
Yeah.
No. I mean,
No.
dissecting is fun, but ultimately we're not going to get perfect results. So we're fine with that.
So, to paraphrase, basically, take everything I say about these scenes, and especially Sakanto scenes later, with a mountain's worth of salt, because this is my personal opinion and my bias is talking. And as Mara said, it blends. It's not one person talking; it's all the people. So he refers to her as an Esdia. He describes her as an Esdia, but it could be Twilight. Whichever Twilight we have now, or 3. Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
So
see,
he.
you're being so discriminatory. You won't use the word Yedan, but you're going to use the word Twilight.
I mean, that's what her name is.
No, there is. By the end of this chapter, you find one more Twilight.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get to that.
So say Yan Tovis if you mean that
Okay,
Twilight.
yeah. No. I mean, generally speaking, there would be either an
I
Esdia or
know.
Jan. Not. Yeah, you get the idea. We're already off track. Anyway, what's fascinating about this is that he refers to the makeshift army gathered about Glyph as the Shake, while there are demonstrably few actual Shake among the camp. Now, the contrast between the man Narad is in his dreams and the man he is in his waking hours stings. The expectations that burdened the watch of his dreamscape had begun to weigh down on him, and he knew it was only a matter of time before people realized he was a man borrowing all the virtues required from another. Someone will point it out, be it Glyph or Lahanis, whom we've met before. Narad, lowborn, murderer, deceiver of the Son of Darkness, a coward that flees retribution, creating for himself an imagined set of memories to avoid the consequences of his actions. But for all his efforts, he can't deny the truth. He has pledged to Shake to the first son, but when the time for the summons came, it would be him that would come to them. And when he did, Narad knew, he would betray the first son. The shore that they will one day call home is an unwelcome one. When he finds them, he will answer their need, or he will perish here. But even should he honor their requests, Narad will be there, standing behind him. There is a weakness in him, and he's not who he claims to be. It will eventually reveal itself. Now, I have a note here. This could
Yeah.
refer to any manner of things, from Scara's betrayal of Silchas, to the Shake doing battle against the Andy, to something we've not seen before, much more likely, and we're not in a position to know. So, yeah, this is pretty much the one passage. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, no. The thing is, he was saying something about when the summons comes to go to the first shore. I mean, what? Sorry, I don't think the shore has come up yet. So anyway, when the Sheikh is called by the Son of Darkness,
Yes.
he says something like, "Lord Anamander will be dislodged." Is he still talking about Lightfall?
I don't
Because
know.
the summons has come, but it's not Anamander anymore. It's Spinnock or Nimander, whoever we say. Is that what he means?
I have an idea.
And in case Anamander had not sacrificed himself and told the hounds, do you think the watch would have killed him? I don't know. Oh, you're thinking about
I
it.
feel
No,
we're not in a position to
pretty
know,
silly.
but that's like,
Yeah.
no, I mean, it's not silly. I think it has some merit, since ultimately the Shake of the Book of the Fallen were chased out of Karkanas and Gorl Galain by both factions, both Andy and Leosan, so there's no good reason why they would defend them. So, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, as you can see, we're like 6 minutes in already, and we have no idea what we're talking about because this chapter is just written that way. Anyway, Narad is approached by Glyph, who is accompanied by Lahanis, who is a child of the Border Swords, who follows Glyph around and, unsurprisingly, holds Narad, who is wearing a Legion uniform, lest we forget, in suspicion and contempt. Glyph informs him that there's Legion trackers within the forest, and Narad gives them permission to kill the trackers. Lahanis is pleased with this addition, but Glyph is troubled. Is it time to begin their war of vengeance? There's more than 1,000 gathered at their glades, but many more are coming daily, and above all else, they are not soldiers, they're hunters. Their habits aren't made for soldiering. Indeed, the only soldier among them would be Narad, who instructs Glyph to view the Legion as a herd of game and proceed accordingly. Elect a leader, set their guile against the Legionnaires, and call them. Which is okay. Lahanis is not particularly happy about this. Narad gave them functionally no advice beyond do as you would do otherwise, which is a good point. But they have no built-in organization, no command structure, no hierarchy beyond Glyph and Narad, who isn't even a soldier, mind you. He's more of a priest in Lahanis' view. Glyph insists that Narad's advice speaks to their habits, and, enraged, Lahanis marches off. The denier commiserates, as the girl has had too many stains and wounds upon her soul, but Narad replies that Lahanis is the equivalent to how the children of the deniers would look like had they survived. Glyph agrees. Theirs is a borrowed rage, which is quite the theme of this book, and so Lahanis' fire will be needed.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add here?
I just want to remind people that Lahanis was the single survivor of the Border Swords, who was sent back to her village by what's his name? Ivis, yeah. And she was the one who mistook the Hunral's people as being Draconis' houseblades, and she was the yeah. So that's Lahanis.
And she's ridiculed by Survivor's Guild, and she's like 15, and yeah.
Yeah. If she was 16, she would have gone out. So yeah.
Yeah.
So sad.
So, the denier then takes the conversation to a different direction. The watch walks ashore in his dreams, and he asks if glory shall be found there. Narad hesitates, contemplating if he should give Glyph an honest reply, but instead gives a non-committal answer. We can call it such. Other names Narad would choose for what is to be found from the shore are, among others, betrayal and the death of innocence. Great. Glyph simply claims that when this war ends, Narad will be required to lead them. Until then, however, he has served well enough. The deniers know their path to become slayers of men and women. And I want to point out that Glyph still refers to him and his army as deniers. Narad doesn't. Which is a neat detail.
Yeah.
Again, things are blending together, past and future. Right. Speaking of which, Narad's eyes remain closed throughout the scene, and after Glyph leaves, he has a vision of walking that very shoreline. Again, a shoreline that looks an awful lot like Lightfall, wielding a blade that seems to laugh and is referred to as Prince by someone beside him. This woman seems to make a virtue of his denying their right to their lives. Indeed, she seems to be a soldier in his command who shares her concerns with him. She never had a family, and so she adopted one, a daughter and a son, or perhaps two. And until her moment of death, or rather their moment of death, not hers. Hang on, fix that.
Yeah.
She held on to that lie. What, she asks, compels them to so plunder the truth? Nerad has no immediate answer, and theorizes the answer is due to love, but not love for your literal loved ones, but rather a love for those you never meet. That feeling has no name, and actually Nerad rails at the insistence to give it some name. And so, why not? Let's call it glory.
Just awesome. It's just so good. So this woman, do you think it's one of those? Do you remember there is a woman in Lightfall who has like two adopted sons or younger brothers or something, and then those two die, and then that motivates her to fight more. Do you remember that?
I know of only two women that are Shake and fight in Lightfall, and that's Pithy and Brevity, and neither of them fit this description. If any of you have read The Crippled God recently,
Not Pithy and Brevity. There is another one.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I don't remember.
There is another one, but I just read it very fast. So there is one woman who, and then Yant always sort of keeps seeing her and gets inspired. So I see Erickson's memory is as bad as mine. So I think that's what he's referencing here. So
probably. I mean,
that
I
this
don't
woman is
remember
so-
at all
yeah.
who that woman is. So yeah, sure. I'll take your word for it.
It's like she loses her family, so she just takes up two boys and considers them like her younger brothers and takes care of them. She tries to, at least. She tries to push them back away from the battlefield and all that.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Narad.
nice.
Yeah.
This chapter,
yeah.
at least, if people are listening, they should just go back and read Lightfall. I mean, we should have done that, but if not us.
Admittedly, yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Right. Narad opened his eyes and was brought back forcibly to reality. The man he was in his dreams, this lover of men, was far wiser. He spoke like a man at peace with himself, and indeed a man that was about to die. He prays one last time that it was that man that led the Shake when the war comes to an end, for Narad will take the coward's path. Now, I have another note. So this does introduce the interesting possibility that Narad is the one that leads the Shake against the Leosan and Andy, and it's possible that it was him that led the Shake through the Lure of Galan. Albeit, Derig claims that the Watch was in fact a corps of officers among the Shake. We'll get to that in the rest of the chapter, but something to keep in mind. That, the definition of Watch according to Derig's memories, and the Watch according to what Narad remembers / sees / is proclaimed to be, are very different, and that's bizarre. But anyway, that concludes scene 1. Do you have anything more to add?
No. I'm just waiting to see the next
You
one.
who remember Lightfall, because I'm sorry, I don't remember very much about Lightfall.
I mean, I don't think there is anything extra you need to know about Lightfall here.
There is some later, but yeah, we'll get to that too.
Yeah, at least so far. Yeah. It's just that one is probably something you can pick up if you read Lightfall. The woman and the younger boys. Yeah. Other than that, yeah.
Right.
It's all the same thing, right? Like, who is Anestia? When is Anestia talking? When is Yanto is talking? And can we just say a word about the audiobook? Yeah. Because when Narad is talking in this dream and say something like, I will shout, something, stand fast, I will shout, bend we shall, but break the will. The narrative goes with a different voice. It's not Narad's voice here, because obviously it's not Narad talking. It's Derek, right?
Yeah.
Is Derek just
right.
Derek?
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know how he pronounces
it. Sounds so much like Derek. Yeah. Okay, next one. Is scene 2?
Yeah. Yep.
What are you calling
the
this?
lake water was once clear, but now it runs red. A hunting party under Glyph has gathered to set off and track down the Legion hunters. They all wear their bows and quivers with iron-tipped arrows, all except for Lahanis, the tormented young child of the border swords. Now, She used her knives, relishing the blood of her slain opponents. In truth, she frightens Glyph. But so did Nerad, for his visions promised death and slaughter. His people had stumbled onto a destiny that none of them wanted. Does Nerad even love his people the way Glyph does? What do the Deniers owe the Andy, or God forbid the Leosan, anyway? A hunter addresses him as Lord, full title Lord of the False Dawn, which is a title he neither wants nor accepts, but it's much too late for that. And after getting over his initial shock, Glyph instructs Lahanis to travel in silence, for these soldiers are scouts and are therefore trained in tracking. Lahanis has even gone as far as to stain her skin, because they must be as shadows, except no, she hasn't. Her skin, as is the skin of Glyph and functionally every hunter amongst the party, is ash grey, but not by their doing. They, Lahanis claims, are deniers, for they have denied both the Andy and Leosan, and instead chose to stand apart. This is a new development, as a hunter among Glyph's party says that the skin was pale as usual just yesterday. Which, okay.
Yeah.
What does this mean about the ash-skinned guy we saw last chapter?
Who was that guy?
Like Corey and Arathan mentioned, like some Tice that have arrived, deniers from the forest, and they have ash gray skin.
I mean,
when is this happening?
Exactly at the same time. So
yeah, that's what I'm guessing.
People are slowly probably it's like the more strongly they deny everything, they just turn gray. Why can't they just be like their natural skin color? Why do they need to turn gray, and why do they have to be put into one category of neither this nor that? Just let them be.
You know why?
Why?
Because in battlefields of old, there were crows of white and crows of black, to keep things simple.
There is no P&D even in this chapter. Why do you bring up crows now?
No, I mean, I think it's probably just due to Azathanai meddling, because we need to, make sure
it's
the
ticed,
delineations
so
are
they
clear.
don't want default ticed. Ticed have to be flavored. Andy, Leosan, or Eater.
Yeah. So, what changed? Why? Narad, the Watch, sanctified their war against the Leosan. Today, by Narad's blessing, they become an army. Cliff is, understandably, horrified by the realization, as he can almost see the end of his tail. The last fish has travelled far, but from whence he came, the water was clear, and nothing could blind him to a future awash with tears. He must end where he began. With the blessing of the Watch, then, they are to become slayers of men and women. The hunters set off, stealthily advancing through the forest. Close to dusk, they happen upon 3 Legion scouts, who, albeit they do spot the party, are dropped immediately. Lahanis checks the bodies, but Glyph knows that's pointless. Yeah.
This bit I really like, because the way they recognize these 3 Legion soldiers, there are multiple things. These guys are all used to hunting and tracking in the forest, right? The deniers. So they are undetected, whereas these Legion soldiers are basically city people or something. So there is like iron buckle, which is like still shining. They have not bothered to make it dull, and they're wearing an inverted strip of hide, right? So they're using hide or animal skins to cover themselves, but one bit is inverted, and that's quite obviously it would stand out to a hunter, right, in the forest. That why would an animal be, having an inverted bit of hide? And also, there is a specific mention that Glyph covers his mouth when they're running, and then we see that it's not just to hide his face; it's also to hide their breath, right? Because it's
Blooming
winter.
breath, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that was really cool detail that they showed. This is how they were identified so easily by the deniers. They know what they're doing. Yeah. Sorry. Please continue.
No, yeah, of course. So Lahanis checks the bodies, but Glyph knows that's pointless, as they have died before they even hit the ground. The denier gets a nasty sense of deja vu. This is not the first time he's been here. It's just like the first time, and just like the first time, he feels nothing. It must be, he believes, how the soldier thinks, or how else could they justify slaying defenseless civilians? What kind of person could do that? Well, the kind of person he now becomes. And all his assertions of hunting the uniform ring hollow, as he knows it's merely his desperate clinging to sanity. This, then, must be war. It was well, then, that he was now reborn, for his old self surely died, as the lake water, once clear, now runs red with blood. Lahanis merely requests Cliff to wound the next person they find for her knife's thirst, and he agrees. Best if they all drink. They traversed the forest like stained water, traveling a shadow world. It was a knife for killing, after all, and kill they did. That is just a wonderfully written scene, though. Like, Cliff is written so well in this book.
Cliff is always great. He always, makes an impact wherever he comes up.
I said it in this book like he appeared last book. He wasn't in the last book. I'm stupid. Forgive.
Forgiveness, elder. Yeah. So, Cliff, when he's talking about, the thing is, because we're so used to these useless ties, like especially the Leo son, who have like zero self-awareness, it's so refreshing that Glyph actually questions himself. The Legionnaires hunted us, as a group identity. They just thought all of these are deniers and they started hunting them. So what is he doing in return? He's more or less doing the same thing. He's just hunting uniforms. It's just Glyph is the man. Yeah. It's a great contrast to Narad because, like, Narad also struggles with more or less the same things, but he's too closed off. He's too much into, he's not really belonging into this realm anymore or in this space and time so far. But Glyph is the one who is on the ground, right? So, oh, it's nice. Yeah, sorry, you were saying something.
Yeah, no, it's very refreshing to see a character that self-recriminates and introspects himself, but also does what he must because he knows he's not morally right? He's not wrong for doing this because, yeah, they really did hunt his people down. They really did kill defenseless soldiers and civilians and children, his wife. And he is right, but also there is no going back from what he's doing. And it's not a particularly new character archetype of, this the Last of the Mohawks kind of deal, or perhaps more accurately, the natives of Arrakis on Dune. But
someone's
I
pulling
like
out
it,
Dune. Oh,
yeah,
nice. Yeah.
I guess Dune is a bit of it's not the best comparison because Naira doesn't really fit as Paul, but I tried my best,
Not Narad is not Paul here. It's just if you just stick with the Freeman, you don't bother about the royal saviors and all. You just stick with the Freeman, and if they were saving themselves, then it would track. Yeah. For all it's for being such a good book, Dune is still sort of this white savior complex book. So I won't fault it for it. It's a good book. I love it, but it is still has that thing of people swooping in and saving it and going back. Yeah.
Right.
Oh God, some other day. We'll keep this for another day.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah.
Scene 3?
That comes scene 2, and now we get to the good scene. So I have like 10 notes
What
here.
is he naming
Okay,
this?
probably not.
Sorry, what?
Take a guess. Take a guess what I'm naming this.
You want me to guess? I don't know. I don't something with. Oh, the sands are burning. Is that right?
No. It's prophecy. Fuck prophecy. Yeah, it's God.
Much better.
The audiobook for Shakanto is very nicely done.
Oh, I couldn't
It's
listen to
really
that
good.
one. Yeah.
But trying to understand what she's saying on audiobook is just, yeah. So
Higher Grace.
Higher Grace Sakanto is dying. Racked by delirium and incomprehensible visions, the woman is on her last legs, and everybody present knows it. Warlock Resh is trying his best to understand Shakanto's ravings, but Captain Finara Stone has long now given up on that task. No one knew what afflicted her, as she reasonably should be. Yeah.
Should we remind people who is Finara Stone?
Yeah, sure. She was
one of the
a
wardens.
captain in the Wardens. She was sent by Gallant Hussein to the Sheikh and then Karkanas and back, I think.
She was supposed. She and Pharaoh had left the Wardens together.
Yeah.
One of them, Pharaoh was supposed to go to the Husk Legion and then to Karkanas. And Finara, I think, had to meet the Sheikh Monastery and then probably go to Karkanas.
Yeah.
It was not very clear what they were supposed to do after that. Yeah.
Yeah. Something like that. But clearly neither of them did that. And now they can't.
Poor
There's no more Wardens.
No one bothers obeying him.
Yeah.
Not even
Well, we'll
Tulas.
get to that later. That's like next scene. Anyway, yeah. So Captain Firestone has long now given up on that task of understanding Shakanto. None knew what afflicted her, as she reasonably should be stalwart and hale by years alone. Now, keep in mind
How
that
many years is
Shakanto is
she?
pushing 2,000 years, yeah, which is kind of putting a dent on my idea that like 2,000 is like the upper bound for lifespans, because, I felt like that would be
No,
reasonable,
2000
right?
is like prime youth probably.
Evidently.
And Spinnock is what, 18? So
Spinnock like 18, Finnar like 20, 28, far enough, Finnar.
Farah is, yeah, she's 11 years older, yeah. So what does
God.
Kagamandra then? Kagamandra could be anywhere between like 50 to like 700 or something. It doesn't matter. He's
Yeah.
old compared to her. That's all we know. I just love how Steve just doesn't bother with numbers. I just love it
Yeah,
so
not
much.
at all. Not at
Nobody
all.
should bother with numbers. Numbers are a curse on this world. No one should ever talk about numbers.
I'll agree. Yeah, why not? Yeah. So Finara wonders if Shakanto is afflicted by the curse of iron, and if she is in fact the victim of a cruel assassination at the hands of Funral. Indeed, it wouldn't be a far reach for the man. He's already crossed all boundaries of propriety. Fair. Finara recalls meeting him. He was unprepossessing, if arrogant, and a permanent drunk, hiding his lack of sobriety, thinking he was fooling anyone, while in truth he merely fooled himself. She'd seen others like him. Eventually the man would drink himself to death, both literally and figuratively. Alas, Hunral seems to have tapped into some measure of unprecedented evil. He was preternaturally energetic and entirely devoid of compassion. Did he poison the higher graces? Does he have spies among the Shake? And if so, would they not be revealed of their pale skin? She even looks around her, and nobody seems to have changed. For that matter, however, something like dust or ash seems to have settled on their skins. Are they transformed, or is their body merely reflecting their sense of loss?
Or
Which
do you know
is.
what this could be?
Hmm?
Sorry to damage
No,
this
tell me.
scene,
Tell me,
but it's because it's winter and these guys are not moisturizing. That's all. That's why they've lost
Okay.
the amber hue of their skin and they look ashy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I told you I'm going to
Okay.
damage.
Right. Okay. So, yeah. Okay.
Okay, go, come on, the best part. Shekanto is going to talk now.
So, yeah, Shekanto then starts waxing prophetic, talking about how the sands will burn. Yeah, okay, I'm not going to do the voice, I'm sorry. She's staring sightlessly into a vista none can see, and she goes on. Someone is dragging her by an ankle, but her flesh is lifeless. The pain belongs to those witnessing. The watch is the only one who understands, and he can do nothing. Now, my guess
Yeah.
is that this
Yeah.
passage actually refers to Anestia through her connection to the Sikh cult via her grandmother, but I have no proper evidence for this, and I have no idea who the fuck she's referring to. One of the more prominent theories we saw was that this refers to Lightfall, but you can say about everything Shekando says, like somehow it ties into Lightfall and Yedan, Derek. Neat.
No, it
Yeah.
could be just something yet to happen, which we've not seen.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, could
I
be.
don't remember seeing anybody being dragged by an ankle in any part of the story. So, though Book of the Fallen has plenty of people dragging people by their ankle, especially the left ankle, which is just always stood out to me. I
Yeah.
don't know why. There's on rack dragging trull.
Yeah.
There's so many,
Yeah.
so many. Like I can't even keep count. Tool is obviously dragging some people here and there. But I don't know. I don't know about
We have no idea.
Shakanto's. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have any guesses, let us know.
Leave a comment.
Now, Finara is a Lazarriere and thinks the words of the High Grace are nonsensical. Already the Sheikh are preparing her crypt, and nobody will drag her out of it. Shekander continues. They, that is the Sheikh, were born of royal blood, and so they ought to take the title of king and queen. But the day itself holds meaning, and she will tell them what plays along its passage. Her words are cut off halfway as sleep and exhaustion takes her. Now, another note is this is probably in reference to her own royal blood, as she and Skeletal are part of the Tiste royal line, and the subsequent use of such titles by the Sheikh, Queen, King, Prince, etc., and also the time of day, twilight, rise, the watch, and so on.
False dawn.
False dawn, yeah. Which is, I think, pretty much twilight, but at dawn, which is weird.
No. Oh, yeah. In the sense, it's the pre-dawn. I think false dawn is just pre-dawn.
Yeah, I think it's like an hour before dawn because of some like refraction effect.
Yeah, there is
Light
some
starts appearing.
lightning of the sky. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the watch is
Anyway.
earlier than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The watch is like the middle of the night, like 2 a.m.
So what is the time between like twilight and midnight? Does it have a name? Is it like Smiley's hours? Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Oh, right now we are at the hour of watch. We are recording
Yeah.
this episode during the watch. It's so good. Yeah. Go on.
So, the warlock slowly leans back in grief, and Finara pounces. If they are to visit the Terrandai, it must be today. Capello awaits them outside. Resh uses her old title, Captain, and she snaps at him. That title no longer applies, as the survivors will have Cal Hussein to lead them, and ultimately the war has been lost. The wardens have lost their purpose in this new Coral Gawain. They weren't even particularly important. They couldn't stop the Vitter, and more to the point, they were the ones that invited Triss into the realm. Let this be their penance. Let Cal begin anew. Finara is done with us. Resh assures her that they do not resent her presence here. Rather, Capello is unpredictable. He's not the man he once was, and Resh believes that he may accompany him to his audience with Mother Dark. Finara replies that Resh should simply refuse him, but Resh answers that Skeletal would summon all the Sheikh to him to defend their cause. Unfortunately, there's no cause left to defend. The Deniers are dead, the forts are aflame, and the Sheikh, why, they did nothing. Finara is well and truly sick of this rhetoric, and I am 100% with her. She replies that in this way, evil thrives. The dead, why, they are already dead, and the blood hides beneath rich soil. If these acts are unanswered, they become normalized, and step by step, evil stands triumphant. Just so good.
Good. Yeah.
So
Yeah. You're not making any Finara, I love Finara things?
No. I'm just gonna quote Sheerdom and just say, like no subject thrives in the land where no tyrant thrives in the land where every subject says no.
Yeah.
A tyrant thrives when the first fucking fool salutes, and it's the
Was
same
it
sentiment,
Sheerdom?
and it's amazing. Yes.
Oh, really? Do you know what I've been thinking all these days? You're going to get mad. I was thinking that was Karsa. Because he did the
Too many words.
Skathandi, the what do you call? He goes to that
Skathandi.
Mad Max type of traveling caravan. Yeah.
Which, by the way, that exists.
Yeah.
That's a thing in a book. Yeah. But yeah, no. It's Sheerdom quote, and it's more specifically like when he's killing all the conspirators too, which makes it even funnier. Anyway. The warlock angrily replies that the Sheikh are weakened and have no means to fight back with. More to the point, why would they fight for Mother Dark when she was the one that killed their god? No, the Sheikh stand apart, but in so doing, they make of themselves nothing, an inconsequential being in the grand scheme of things. Finara is beyond frustrated, but she masters herself and takes the conversation back to their impending meeting. Capello may well seek to kill Mother Dark, and Anamandra won't be there to stand in his way. If you don't remember, last time Capello tried something like this, he got grabbed by the shoulder and lifted up into the air, pinned against the wall. And if you walk 10 meters into that chamber, I'm gonna kill you. Which, yeah, okay.
I don't think anyone would have forgotten that scene. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah. It's chapter 9. It's one of the biggest chapters for the darkness. So yeah, Now Draconis may step in, but he won't be there for long, or Sanders on his way. Resh replies that it's possible Mother Dark would deny Lysander, for is she not a goddess? Is she now stripped of her will, made blind and deaf by incessant prayer and beseeching? Finara sees an eerie contrast between Resh's words about Mother Dark and his own god. He must believe, therefore, that the Sheikh's faith is what ended up killing their god by virtue of leaving them defenseless. And he concurs. Face belongs to mortal mind, but one look in the mirror will tell you that it is a lamb in the care of the wolf. Just amazing. I really like the quote.
Yeah.
Resh, I guess it hasn't become obvious yet, but Resh, with or without Capello, is a great character, and yeah, I love Resh. Anyway, the ex-captain remarks that Resh has made of his self-pity a sacred thing, with tears, the libation, and the sacrifice being himself. She counters by saying that she trambles on her own rank and tells him that Count Hussein has no need of her. In that, she rightly replies, the two of them find comfort in each other's company.
So they're basically at the same point, right?
Yeah,
Even he
they're at the
thinks,
bottom of the barrel. Yeah,
yeah. Okay, that's a good way to put it.
they're
But they both try to convince the other person. Hope is not lost. Go back to your captain. Go lead your shake against this. Do something, and then they're both like, nah, I'm done. We're
they're
done.
both
And then,
despondent and purposeless, but they're trying to not lose hope, and that counts for something.
yeah. At least they have each other.
Yeah.
Great.
Now, Resh confesses that he cannot bind Capello, and he fears delivering yet another crime to Mother Dark. Capello was his friend, and as he has radically changed now, and Resh openly asks Finara if she will draw blades to defend Mother Dark, which would be akin to suicide. But then, why insist on following the Shake around? She has no answer, only a hunch or a premonition, that her fate is bound to that of the Shake. She thinks on the
Like a
Terrandai.
leaf. Like a
Yeah,
leaf.
like a leaf.
That's a
Yeah.
nice line. Like a leaf joining a mass of detritus, impelled by the gathering of its own weight as it swung into the current. But what waited downstream remained unknown. Yeah. I won't quote the whole paragraph like you. I'll just stop at one line or two lines.
Okay, yeah, sorry. So yeah, she thinks on the Terrandai and Don Capello before Resh interrupts her thoughts by mentioning the sorcery of the Terrandai. It's powerful enough to flood the realm. Finara invites him to make use of it, but that's a dangerous invitation. Indeed, everyone partaking of it is, as Finara put it, a child with a chest full of knives in the middle of a crowded and locked room. Okay,
Nice,
that's
no?
a metaphor.
Good analogy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great metaphor. She then asks Resh if he plans to leave her. To leave her alone to be Capello's lone escort, before Shekanto starts coughing and waxing prophetic once more because we had too much time. So,
Yeah.
the watch stands alone, dreaming of his sister. A sister that will know the sword in her hand and rise at the end of the day, and therefore be known as Twilight. A sister that will be queen of the Shake, a queen upon the shore. A vision then rocks Shekanto, silver fire rending the flesh from the bones. And asks the very natural question, does she now speak prophecy? Prophecy? Fuck prophecy, is the higher grace reply.
Yeah.
Someone whom Shekanto refers to as Immortal Shadow, or maybe not, and that's just a prayer in the style of Mother of God, I don't know.
Like
He's
holy fuck, like
forever.
that immortal shadow.
It could be, yeah. It could just be. He's forever restless and will come to be known by that habit. More than that, he's a clever boy. Now, truth be told, I have no idea who Shekanto is referring to here. The most logical candidate would be Ed Derek, but as aforementioned, everything can be traced back to Ed Derek. And while I do love Derek as much as the next guy, or gal, maybe more, that's a bit lame. Like, if everything
But
just ties
then,
back, yeah.
what do you mean by
Yeah.
forever restless? I think we discussed this, or I saw this discussion somewhere that this forever restless is just Derek's habit of bunching his jaw.
Yeah, that was my idea. Yeah.
It was yours, yeah. So
Yeah, he just has
it
this
could be him.
the habit of bending his jaw. My other idea was that this might refer to Narad because, well, for one, he's dreaming of his sister, which he is currently dreaming, but the distinction of where Narad ends and where Derek begins is very, very blurry on purpose.
Can I say that whenever
Yeah,
it mentions prince, I'm just taking that as Derek.
yeah. Prince or
And
lover of men is Derek. Yes.
yeah. This is so trippy and it's so nice. And it's not like
It is. Yeah.
massively confusing. It's only because we are trying to think so much.
Yeah.
It doesn't like it stops making sense. If you just read
Yeah.
it like superficially, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's fine. They're talking about Derek and they're talking about Lightfall and maybe some other things which we don't know. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when the first son comes to them, Shakander says, they must answer his need and die for the love they have never known, die to say what they will never see, die in the name of children not yet born, and die for the cause not their own. She tops it off by rushing the lover of men onward while he's being hunted by 9 assassins. Now, I have like a half a page worth of note here. That basically reads, this die for a
What the
higher
fuck?
cause narrative shows up extensively in the Shake storylines, both Narad in chapter 4 and Derek in basically all his scenes after the Age of Garganas, but like chapters 18 and 21 of Touch of Dreams, and like all of Lightfall. And it's also an inversion of Spinnock's words to the Andy in The Crippled God. So you have, on the one hand, Narad that goes to chapter 4 and says, you know what, we're going to stand on the shoreline. Why? Because this is our war. Every war is our war. Because it doesn't matter if we're just, sitting around and saying, I might just fight this. No. Every war is our war because ultimately nothing divides us. We're all the same, which is a neat sentiment. Derek talks about this, about, we are Shake. We stood because they told us to, and we defended our home, and we'll do it again because it's the right thing to do. And then you have Spinnock and his Andy who are coming in, and they're like, okay, well, these guys are dying for you because throughout all this time you had Rick who is telling you that you should die for these people at his command, at his behest, for a cause that's not your own. And now these people are dying for you, and it's time that you finally fight for yourself. So, go on and do slaughter.
You know what?
Yeah.
The way you're telling this, it would have been much more effective if you had like a sword to bang on a shield and say,
Yeah.
It's so cool. Yeah. It's one of the highlights of Cripple God, right? That scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, if you don't get chills while reading that scene, I don't know. So, as we said, the lover of men line is also very explicitly Derek, but the 9 assassins line is weird. Now, the only 9 we have come across thus far is the dragons and Coeur d'Alene. Now, there's 5 Leos and Scouts in Rogue Galan, which he disposes of. There's 13 Leos and Soldic at Lightfall. There's 4, maybe 5 Hounds of Light at also Lightfall. Like 200 Shake Witches or Warlocks, and so on and so forth. Now, this might be a reference to something else we've not listed, or it might be a reference to something else that we've not seen yet, or it might be talking to Narad through his connection to Derek, or none of the above.
Or 9 is just a random number. We should not
Or
really
9
worry
is a
about
random number. Yeah. I mean, ultimately, yeah. Why not? Now, to complete her incessant craving, Shekanto points to Finara and declares that she knows the sword in her hand and orders Resh to kneel to Twilight, his queen. She then immediately collapses asleep. Now, I thought she died, but apparently no, she's just sleeping. Okay.
Or the nurse could be lying, seriously.
Could be, yeah. Now, Finara Stone is actually the sister of Khaled Hussein, stepsister maybe, I'm not sure. And thereby she's a member of the Hast family. Now, she has a Hast sword as an heirloom.
Yes.
So Yedan and Silchas' sword, Silchas' sword in the flashback, and then Yedan's sword in Dust of Dreams is also meant to be a sword wielded by a master of the Forge, and ergo a member of the Hast family, what is in the Book of the Fallen called the Hostas or Hastas. It's never brought up again, ever. But yeah. Now with Funara being Twilight, that leaves a mystery Andy to escort Galan to the Shake, which could be Sandalaf? Maybe? But we simply don't know. But Finara's sword is actually a pretty good contender for Gedan's sword. Now, 2 more things I want to add. Our first introduction to Finara's Stone in chapter 4 of Portrait of Darkness has a very explicit mention that she would rather live in a world of shadows, of in-betweens, of medians.
Yeah.
She traverses shadow more easily than she does like light or dark. She is more familiar in shadows and whatnot. And number 2, there is a very, very pointed symbolism in having the first Twilight possibly be a lesbian and the last Watch be a homosexual man. That's a very nice contrast. Something to keep in mind. I don't know if it's intentional. I don't know if it means anything. I don't even know if Inara is the first Twilight, but it's something to keep in mind.
Right. The thing is, during Nared's flashbacks, the previous one and also this one, when he's walking along Lightfall, there is something like he's already having a sword in hand. I think at
Yeah.
least in the previous flashback, then he just drops it on the sand. And I just assume that that's the one Derek picked up. So, no idea how Nared would have had a husk sword in his dreams and then left it on the sands for this guy to find it. So, that happens.
No,
He just leaves the sword
in
on
the
the
Book
sand.
of the Fallen, it's supposed to be Silchas' sword. Like he comes up with a broken sword.
Uh-huh.
He dumps the sword in the sand. Then Galan comes up with some random Theist woman, which we don't know. I guess it's Sandalath. I have no idea. There's absolutely no textual evidence for it being Sandalath, by the way. Just me guessing. And then she picks it up and throws it into the river where Gideon finds it.
Oh.
No idea. No clue.
Maybe there's more
If
than
it
one
is the
sword.
same sword that Narad has in his dream, that introduces some problems. Because how did he get it? If not, like maybe it's just time travel. Like he just really is Gedan Derek. He really just has a sword that's like he's driving on the sand. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it means something more. I don't know. We're not in a position to know. So I say this a lot, but it's just the nature of the beast with this chapter. Now, Finara is just like me, having none of this. The day is closing. It's nearing twilight, and so if they are to ride, they must do so now. She leaves before Resh can reply, but as she walks away, her mind is a whirl. Shekanto raved on about the Queen of the Shake being of the blood and not a monk or a nun, and those titles in conjunction with a few others, sisters, brothers, witches, warlocks, list those with a need to believe, among which Finara does not list herself. If Shekanto sees anything in the ex-captain, then her mind is well and truly gone. Outside, Kaplo awaits them and is none too pleased to see Finara. The two of them are supposed to journey in the name of the Sheikh, which pleases Resh to hear, since Kaplo at least numbers himself among the ranks, but he also shuts Kaplo down. Finara is riding with them, as he said, in the name of the Sheikh.
The name of the
That
Sheikh.
manages to piss off both of them, but Resh merely remarks that twilight's upon them, and he rides away.
Yes, yeah. Nice.
Finara has to follow, though she is none too pleased with this arrangement. Right. That concludes scene 3. And I'm already 9 pages in, and
You're halfway
with
through.
like 3-4 more scenes to go, and yeah. Well.
Yeah. Scene 4?
Yeah, on to scene 4. Now, scene 4, because I didn't have a much better code to use, I just used house blades. Do I even have house blades?
Yeah, that's a good line, yeah.
So, Kagamandra Tulas is riding back to his father's, now his, estate. The snowstorm has passed, and a warm spell has taken over the weather, what yours truly's ancestors called the Halcyon days. But Tulas knows that it too will pass. Yeah.
Oh, is it how it's... what is the meaning of that word, actually? I don't know.
Halcyon is a bird. It's a bird. In mythology, she was a woman that was cursed by the gods to become a bird. And she could only lay her young, she could only lay eggs in warm weather. But also, she was, cursed to only lay eggs in winter. So, there is a warm spell between mid-January and mid-February, where there's like some regular, like 20-25 degrees weather, which for midwinter in Greece is actually fairly high, which is why it's like has its own mythological connotation.
Our winters
if you look at it more
25,
holistically, it's not really all that like impressive or out of the like with modern meteorological tools. It's like it's obvious that wouldn't happen, but to the ancient Greeks, it looked like it was snowing and now it's 25 degrees. Like what the fuck? So neat history lesson. Anyway, Tulas knows that it too will pass and winter will swiftly return because he is a ray of sunshine.
No, he's 500 years old, so he knows how weather works.
I'm sure he does, yeah. He had been gaining on the refugees, but he had been in no rush to catch up. He's thankful that he hasn't seen any graves yet, but where he and they were going, there was a good chance that nobody would be there. His father's estate would probably have been abandoned. Tulas thinks on his youth and how he'd spent his days away in withered prairies and denuded hills. Do you have anything to say about that particular
I,
adjective?
no, I don't have anything
Okay,
to say. Do
yeah,
you have anything to say?
not in particular. Actually, I do. I
Right.
did. I think I mentioned. Was it on air or not? I thought I
What?
said like the next time that this word comes up is going to be in like a Prazak and Dathanar.
Oh, is
It
it? I
it
don't
didn't.
remember.
I lied. It was in
Yeah.
chapter 2 because the first time it comes up in the book, and I'm like, this sounds like such a P&D word. Yeah, no, it's just it's
It
a
comes
Golan
up
word.
6 times in Fall of Light. Only 6 times. Then you did.
Yeah, and it's almost always in reference to hills. But anyway, seeking solitude. Now he knows that
I'm
solitude
glad
haunts
it's
him.
always
Yeah.
about hills and it's not about Lhasa talking about Hanako or anything. Deluded warrior.
Right.
Yeah.
Now he knows that solitude haunted him, buried deep within his mind, as he was estranged from and marginalized by his own siblings. For that matter, his current disposition feels more like home than any old abandoned estate. If he could, he would have stayed here. Alas, both his horse and he are actively busy, dying. As the
Dying.
season hasn't exactly yielded much game, and if another storm were to approach, his bones would decorate the plain. His father, he thinks, was right to see so little in him. Jesus, what the fuck?
As you said, a ray of sunshine.
Yeah,
Kagamandra Tulas, the sunshine. Yeah.
yeah. And of course, to complete the duality, Tulas envisions Sharina as his belated conscience. Truly, she would chastise his own
Excuse me.
self-pity. Yes?
Okay, yeah, go on, go on. You're just making it
It's
sound
not his
nice, so I'm not
belated
going to.
conscience. He's just thirsting. Is that it?
Exactly, yeah. I mean, come on. He's half starving. His horse is about to die. He's going home and he's feeling sad and he thinks that the house could easily be abandoned. There's nothing left for him. And what does he do? Sharina Sankadu, why do you appear again and again in my thoughts? Yeah.
Wait until we get to like Sharina's bleeding out and, thinking about Tulas, like, oh my
They are
god,
made
what?
for each other. Can I just tell you that? If Steve just made Walk in Shadow about these two, I'll be so happy.
Yeah.
About, yeah.
Truly, then, she would chastise his own self pity and instruct him to seek out fairer hand and finally, finalize their marriage. Tulas, however, knows he wouldn't do that because, surprise, you can't force love out of thin air. Kagamandra would think solely of the hurt he would have delivered to Faror if they ever were to meet, which is fair.
Does Kagamandra have a single nice thought about himself? Like, even by mistake, does he think, I'm not
No,
such a bad guy?
I
Maybe
don't
I'm
think he
not,
does now.
he doesn't. He never, not even
To be
once.
fair, he's a shell-shocked veteran in a you know he's
Okay, so
basically yeah.
no, we don't know him from his youth or anything, but the way he thinks about himself, it makes it look as if he's been this way forever, right? He's felt isolated even in childhood. The snowy plains are like more home to him than his own home.
Hmm.
Things like that. He's a very unhappy child. He's been an
Yeah,
unhappy child. He's an unhappy old man now. And for some
but
reason, he met
yeah.
Sharina's. And if
Hmm.
these two don't get together, I'm going to be so mad. Yeah.
Right. Now, what I was going to say is that we know
Yes.
from authors mostly that Tulas is actually pretty much, well, I don't want to say lowborn, but he doesn't have noble status prior to his ascension to the Legion, and he essentially carved out noble status for himself through his martial prowess in the war. But that
But
war also left him profoundly altered and depressed in a society that doesn't support his veterans at all, which is just, yeah, great. So,
no, but
yeah, he
he
was an
already has
already,
an estate. He is a
yeah.
lowborn with an estate or something.
I mean, it's not a hold or a keep, it's just some estate, right? It's not even on the map. I
How?
looked.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry. So poverty. I get it. Yeah. It's just an
I mean,
estate with a castle
maybe,
and,
yeah,
and
maybe
house
he just.
plates.
I mean, now, yeah, because he has a.
How
I
long ago
guess
was the Civil War? I don't know, man. I
I don't
don't
even
know.
remember. No, I don't know. It
He
wasn't
could
that
just
long
be a
ago.
low-born rich guy, right?
Probably. I mean, I do
Yeah.
think he was. I just don't. But also, Vatha was a low-born rich guy who has a keep, but he is a noble, so
Right.
Anyway,
So, did you finish talking about Shalinas?
yeah.
Is there more?
Uh,
So
no.
sad.
He draws nearer to the refugees and is shocked to learn they bear the standards of the wardens. Two wardens, a man and a woman, approach him. The woman, who identifies herself as Sergeant Savaro, declares that if this rider is here on behalf of Raal, since Tulas still wears a Legion uniform, he can inform his commander that they have no beef with him, to put it bluntly. They never did. The war is over, and the wardens are no
Yeah.
more. Tulas is curious as to where they're riding, since upon this track lies an estate. Are they looking to enlist themselves as houseblades? The man beside her is understandably hesitant to join a noble, but Savara reassures him that she had no plans to join any ranks, but unless he failed to notice, they're out of food in bumfuck nowhere, with a storm coming. If nothing else, they'll need shelter. The estate might take them in as guests. There's some excellent banter
Yeah.
between Ristan and Savara that I'm skipping over.
And
If you
and you
want,
know what?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
we're just like going through this chapter a second time, you already know that these two are married. So
yeah,
it just adds so much more. Like I vaguely remember from my first read that these two are somehow related. I was not sure whether they were brother and sister battering or like married couple battering, but yeah, it's an old relationship. That's all that
yeah.
stands out to me. But just contrast them with the other two captains in the same squad, the ones
hmm
we see before. Who are those? Endest's parents, Silan and
Um,
what's her name?
literally legionnaires now. These guys are wardens. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
of
not
course, yeah.
wardens. I'm just
No,
saying
no,
that two
yeah,
army captains in the same squad. The
yeah. Estala
wife
and
obviously
Salam, yes.
outranking him, and
hmm
then their relationship is so messy and so disgusting. But look at these two; they're so cute. So like, yeah, please continue. Guests, they'll see us coming, and
Yeah,
lock the
yeah,
gates.
yeah. They might as well take them in as marauders for how well they look. After all, the sergeant said nothing about it being a highborn's estate. Savara's having none of this shit. They need food,
Yeah.
shelter, and a place to pass the winter. And if the lord isn't in residence, well, they're in luck. Yes, the irony here is palpable. And if he is, why, they will tie up Ristan and gag him so they may have some chance to ask nicely. Kagamandra passively observes that this mess passively observes this mess. Uh, passively observes must continue before interceding to ask if they came from the season's fort and if they were present at the battle. A battle he knows nothing about since he's not here on behalf of Honral. Elgas ran command of the wardens. Well, that's his problem. Kagamandra spoke to Ostain, who was riding back from the Vitter, wholly unaware of the battle the wardens were speaking of, so they best return, lest they be deemed deserters. In the chaos that erupts after Kagamandra's announcement, he rides away, wondering if he still has houseblades.
So basically,
Yeah.
Khaled Hussein, when we last saw him, did not
hmm
know what happened to the wardens. All he knows is that Ilgastad is taking care of them. Kagamandra, because he was at Neret's and then he's taking the scenic route to go back. So he has no clue what's going on. Like in between, he has seen that Khaled Hussein has seen something at the Vitru, but he doesn't know what exactly. And now he's finding out that the wardens are already shattered. Again, he doesn't have details. So
hmm
there's a lot of, you know, lack of information. Not
Yeah.
everybody has access to what's happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
The first thing with sorcery you should do is like start a newsletter if you have sorcery.
Obviously. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he writes
Scene
away. Do I
five.
have house plates?
Yeah.
Oh, that
Yeah.
is such a short and sweet one. It's just the banter which made it seem like much
Yeah.
longer. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's
What do you
also
call
like
him?
Kagamata moping for like quite a while, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So scene
True.
five. My kind greet gallantry with a kiss.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bear with me. So,
No.
uh, Bertha, whom I will still refer to as Berid for the purposes of the summary. If you, for some reason, you don't know why I do this, Bertha in Forge of
It's because
Darkness.
you're salty that people don't
It's because I'm
remember names
salty.
as well as you. Yeah.
Yes, it's because I'm salty. Bertha was Nerad's corporal in Forge of Darkness, and he was a member of the, I think Steve says he was uninvited to the wedding or something like that. And Berid, now Bertha, was a sergeant in the Wardens and a veteran of the Wardens who I'm guessing had his name changed in post. Hence the mistake here, but I don't really know. And also, Bertha's dead. The OG Bertha is dead in this chapter, in this book. Presumably killed by Narad when Cliff finds him. Which we went over in that episode when we did chapter 3, I think it was. But anyway, that's why I'm calling him Berid, and I will continue to do so until the book finishes. Anyway, so Berid gazes upon a dragon from the high walls of the Warden's winter fort and feels like a fool. The dragon arrived here 4 days before the Wardens did, per some old border sword that chose to stay in the fort and has made quite a cozy home for himself. Himself, not itself. Jesus.
Him.
Oh wait, no, itself is the dragon. Yes, right, not the border sword.
Herself. It's herself.
Well, we don't definitely know that yet. But yes, I refer to the dragon as itself until we learn that she's female. But just bear with me.
Right.
Berid is beyond sick of all this farce. There's a bloody dragon there, and there's a handful of wardens left. Khaled has lost his mind if he thinks he can reform the regiment in any conceivable way. Or if the dragon decides to look tasty, yeah, he'll leave first chance he gets. Spinnock Durav is beside him, which for some inexplicable reason pisses him off tremendously.
Inexplicable?
Even so,
really?
Yeah.
I mean, he's young and handsome and awesome, and people tell him to keep an eye on this young guy, just for reasons. Please protect him and stuff. He's going to be pissed. Why would he be think, oh,
Bitter
yes,
ancients.
awesome. Yeah, he's a bitter ancient, and I completely stand by his sentiments. I
Right.
mean, has anyone ever told anyone, please keep a watch on Bursa? I have a crush on him. No. Obviously, he's going to be jealous and angry.
Right. Even so, he relishes his newfound anger. The dragon isn't hibernating, as Spinnock suggests, but merely recuperating. And if Spinnock thinks his is an unwise obsession, well, the dragon could very well kill them at any moment. What they unleashed from the Vitter will be the death of Curl Ghislaine. Spinnock's baffled. They didn't release anything. But Berid isn't having it. It was his fault, and Finara's, and Farah's. Albeit, he does amend to mention that he remains innocent enough. Indeed, so much so, that she, Finara Stone, but Spinnock is either too dense or too into messing with Berid to notice. Has
Or
sent
he could
him,
really be wondering which woman has asked him to keep
or
an eye
that.
on him.
But
I
Farah
mean, it's
isn't
not like he
in
has
a
one or two girlfriends. Yeah.
But Farah isn't in a commanding position, she can tell Berid, look after him. But yeah.
She could make a request.
She could, yeah, I guess.
It could
Since,
also
all
be
women,
Mother Dark.
yeah.
It could be anyone, seriously. The only
Yeah,
thing
I'm sure.
which would be, narrows the field is that he's mentioning it is she. If you just meant he or she, it could just be the entire world. Anyone could have asked Basa to keep an eye on Spinnock. So.
Right. Even Rash.
What does Resh tell? Yeah, is it he's too handsome for me, isn't it?
It's something like that, yeah. It's a synonym of handsome, I think.
I don't see any fan art with Spinnock making him so good looking. I don't remember seeing anything like that. People make Anamanda very nice and nice to look at. But Spinnock has to beat that, right? In terms of looks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
Can we stop thirsting over Spinnock?
It's infectious.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Maybe Bursa Loki has a crush on him and that's why he's
Oh my god.
mad about him. Yeah.
Oh god, okay.
Right.
So yeah, since all women lust for him or some such, he has no desire to salute him because his noble blood means nothing.
This is
The
nice.
young warden,
This is interesting.
yeah. The young warden leaves after a moment, and Barrett thinks that the weak-minded are comforted by habits. Though he knows that such habits are undertaken by rote, since everything has changed, not that Spinnock, small-minded that he is, would know. Barrett has to leave tonight, leave Calla to his insanity, for he knows better. After all, dragons, 9 dragons, are hunting him in his dreams while he carries away the treasures of Coral Gillane. This, Barrett reasons, must be a whisper of his fate. Now, when we first tackled
Yeah.
this, which I don't remember when this was, chapter 4, I think, I said that I was not going to bother to decode what this metaphor is. I'm still not going to bother what this metaphor is. If it means
Oh, I
something,
thought.
I don't care.
Okay, see, two things. One,
Yep.
because as long as they were all part of the wardens, they were a bunch of misfits working together, patrolling against the Vitr. But now that the wardens are no more, it's shattered. Their individual personalities come out, like their identities come out, right? So that's why Barrett is very happy differentiating between himself and Spinnock, in the sense making him out to be, you're highborn. I'm not highborn, so I'm going to leave this place. So that's very interesting the way these fractions happen.
Yeah.
Second thing, him having all these dreams, it's by the end of this we realize that it is
Yeah.
Queen
It's
of
Triss.
Dreams. So
Yeah.
Triss is doing this. But why is she picking up this with Bursa? Does it have a payout? I don't remember at all. Don't tell me, but I don't remember at all. Yeah, so there is something going on. Right, go on.
I don't know. I don't remember. Maybe not.
Oh, that was your I don't remember face, or was it like
Yeah.
Rafo face?
I'm going to, well, probably Rafa, but I don't remember. So I'm going to guess.
You don't remember. Cool. Yeah, nice.
I'm going to guess it's because he's near the Vitter and she's keeping an eye on the Vitter by extension. I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
none of this is desertion, of course. Leave those idiots that missed the battle join the Hust to ride against the Rusander. Leave Cal Hussein to guard against that which cannot be guarded. Savara and Ristan had the right of it. Cal gave command of the wardens to Idgast Rend. An unforgivable crime, all things considered, that should reasonably have elicited the man's suicide. Barrett would take Khalad's life if he could be bothered, which he can't. Now, if any of this sounds like what Finara was talking about earlier, with how evil stands triumphant, bingo. Barrett is the prime example here. Yeah, he's jealous of Spinnock and whatnot, but he's also just a jaded bastard and accepts things as they are because he can't be bothered to change them. And thus, the first fucking fool salutes. Wrong hand. It's the right hand. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Let's not get into that. Yeah. But yeah, I can understand him being jealous over Spinnock. This, bit more difficult. Anyway, Khaled, Spinnock, and Booker Flat, the aforementioned Old Boulder Sword, which I didn't mention earlier, appear at the fort's walls to take a look at the dragon from up close. Great.
And
Khaled orders Barrett to stay on the wall and observe, which he interprets to mean that Khaled's finally gone loony. Which is fair. Turns out they really, yeah.
Yeah, he says, "Oh, take the handsome one." When he calls Spinnock to join him, Barrett is like, "Yeah, take the handsome one."
Turns out they really are going to take a look at the dragon, which scares Barrett shitless. These idiots are welcome to die, which he's not going to do, and he's not going to be the one that stops them. He even thinks of what he'll do Finara when Spinnock dies, which at least he's thinking ahead.
I mean, it's at least he's indulging himself. Like, I hope this guy dies.
I could say he died bravely. Yeah, okay, buddy, but you know, I mean, yeah.
I mean, it's nice to have a very handsome, a very popular guy being seen through the eyes of this type of a jealous character who's like, I hope he dies so that I can go tell his girlfriend that he died badly.
Yeah, I guess.
And you know how he describes Spinnock climbing down the rope ladder?
With a nauseating alacrity.
Agility. Right.
Right, yeah. The dragon seems to wake up and addresses everyone present in their minds. If the Teist refuse them their freedom, they will awaken Tiamatha and lay waste to this world. Ooh, yeah. Khaled reassures it that they are not present to offer any challenge. Now, I keep referring to the dragon as it until we learn that, but,
Fine,
it's
fine,
she.
yes.
It inquires as to their forms, noting certain natural advantages. Less food is required for sustenance, a more modest shelter, and a certain elegance in the way they move.
In the way
But
they
Khaled says that
crawl upon the ground.
yeah.
Crawl.
But Khaled says that it emerged from the Vitter, at which point the dragon asks if they've been in the company of meddling Azathanai or a giant ogre throwing stones. Now, spoiler for, Knowles, this could either be a reference to the builders from this book, or, what I think is more logical, they are referring to Maker from Orbs of the Throne.
Maker, yeah. That
we
would
don't
make
know
more sense.
if it's the same race or the same species or the same person. We don't know. Yeah. Before remarking that the queen, not sister, which is interesting because she's usually referred to as a sister of Dream by other Azathanai. But
Is it?
Telerast, yeah. Telerast
I never
refers to her
noticed.
as the Queen of Dreams. Also haunts one of them. Now, Kalat doesn't understand, we don't either, don't worry, and asks how it can help them stop the Vitter's advance. If it's advancing, the dragon replies, then there must be a leak. At which point, inexplicably, the dragon shifts to a lithe, female-tized form. A naked, lithe,
that's very
form
important.
in the middle of winter.
Yeah, but then she does make a comment on it. It's very believable.
Yeah, she strides towards the group of men and requests furs, shelter, food, and water since her... Skip that, yeah.
Yeah, skip it. Yeah, please
Okay,
skip
yeah,
it. I am not in the mood to listen to that. Yeah.
Spinnock, of course, who else, steps up to accommodate her, much to Barrett's chagrin, and is formally welcomed by Count Hussein, who asks for her name. She says something non-committal, like, of course I have a name, everyone has a name, which sounds very much like Kalanved from... Okay, I'm spoiling something, but yeah, that sounds very much like something like Kalanved would pull. Like, yeah, of course I have a name. Everyone has a name.
And
yeah,
it's Wu. My name is Wu.
yeah. Before requesting a kiss from Spinnock Durav, something she made up on the spot, but
Does she?
why not?
Yeah, she doesn't request. She just says, "This is how we do things here. You have to kiss."
Yeah.
And then he does point out that you have snouts.
Yeah.
Right. Can I just tell everyone listening that as you were summarizing this, I think for the last 2 or 3 days, you took a while to summarize, right?
Yeah.
Because you wanted to read, and it's a long chapter. You kept referring to this scene as Spinnock tongue blasting terrorist, Spinnock tongue blasting terrorist, and I thought, oh my god, is this some extremely explicit scene and what's going on? It's pretty mild. It's so mild. There is nobody mentions tongues anywhere.
She's literally fucking squirming to get out of her grip, and she's not letting him. You cannot tell me that like
this
is
the one
not
squirming against him, and then he just come on. It's right. It's cold. She said she's cold.
Lovely. And lovely. Yeah. Yeah.
What book are we reading? Is this supposed to be like heavy on philosophy and
I don't know.
Religious? No.
Yeah.
It's people tongue blasting dragons.
So the young warden bows to her, calls below, and introduces the rest of the group. Yeah.
Sorry, I have a question now. So Tellerust is Elaine. Pure Elaine. But she's able to shapeshift. So obviously we have to ask, does Silana do the same thing? Does she transform into this red-ticed woman? Because I was under the impression the Elaine don't shapeshift. Pure Elaine, stay Elaine. Why is Tellerus changing shape here? She's not Azathanai or anything.
Yes.
Yes. Where is all the fan fiction then of Rake and Silana?
Why is it always...
Sorry. Yeah, I'm not going to interrupt you.
Let's not out ourselves here. No, I was gonna say that I believe it may have just been some sort of ritual, perhaps in like
Of?
the age of gifts, was it in Ehudi?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where the Elaine did battle against the Dice and therefore would have killed them, and perhaps they might have drunk their blood and therefore attained her. But that's a bit poked into because apparently she's never seen them before, which is weird. But she is Dice standee. Well, she's looking at Dice standee, so they may have never seen something like that before. But she may have seen normal
Yeah.
Dice. Well, normal. I don't know. I don't know. If Elaine can shapeshift, then yeah, maybe Solana does too. Which
I mean,
somewhat.
that's all I'm interested in. I don't care about
Yeah.
like Elaine can or cannot shapeshift, and who cares about that? But
Yeah.
we have always been thinking Rake transforms into a dragon to be with her. It need not be. If Selena can shapeshift, it would solve a lot of fan fiction problems. So
Yeah.
I say problems, but I am going to stop. Yeah.
We promise. We're professional podcasters. We promise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Telerast asks Barrett about his dreams, since ostensibly he's the one being haunted by the Queen of Dreams, and then proceeds to kiss Spinnock, which makes Khaled rather uncomfortable, which in turn delights Barrett. The commander
Khaled is not
commands.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
He just stands to one side, waits politely for them to finish.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. It's just Berser thinking all these things. Oh, this guy is
Yeah.
uncomfortable as much as me. And
Yeah.
yeah.
The commander commands the wardens to open the gate, and Barrett inserts a snide remark about how the dragon will join them for the evening meal, and also how he hopes that Spinnock is said evening meal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Devours Durav in a single bite. Yeah.
God. Okay. Well, we're almost there. Home stretch. It's fine. Yeah.
Scene 6.
Scene 6. My lord,
What are we calling this?
your father was a fuckwit. Great.
You realize one thing. 2 titles in this one chapter has the F word in it. So
It's very explicit. Not my fault. Anyway, I made a quick note for like a dramatis personae because we're gonna get lost. So Braffen is acting Castellan of Tulas' estate. Trout, Igorlaut, and Nasaras, I don't know, are the captains of the Houseblades of Tulas' estate, and incidentally his only remaining Houseblades. Savaro is the ex-sergeant of the Warden Refugees, and Ristan's wife, and Ristan is a soldier in the Wardens and Savaro's husband. So,
yeah.
Kagamandra has written his
also,
estate, yeah? And also,
with this scene, the tone changes. It's no more serious business. It's a complete comedy sketch, basically.
Yeah. So Kagamandra has written his estate, which to his surprise is still occupied. Braffen, acting Castellan, welcomes him and offers a resignation for failing to prepare the estate for his return, but he dismisses her because, in truth, he didn't expect to find her here. Trout is also present, clearing out the snow before the gate, and is also incidentally a captain, one of 3, in Tulas' Houseblades, also one of 3. The other Houseblades have left to join his Tulas' Houseblades, since the 2 are related, except they're only related by name. And I know I've already gushed about the audiobook.
To Tulas.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I know I've already gushed about the audiobook, but like Braffen's reaction to, oh, you're not related. Oh, well, it's like the little mannerisms are just so good.
Yeah. I think he really enjoyed reading this book, probably. No, maybe he's a Malazan fan too. Who knows?
Maybe. So, yeah, it's news to Tulas. Like, his Tulas related to me. Yeah, seriousness has left the building for now. Trout forces the gate open, and Kagamandra attempts to usher his horse within, but it's uncharacteristically difficult. Braffen believes it's due to the hostages they've received. Wait, but what hostages? Kagamandra doesn't actually say anything, kudos to him for self-restraint, and as the 2 make their way in, his self-restraint quickly evaporates. I spoke too soon. Hostages delivered by Silchas and Scara, you say?
Can we take a minute here?
Yeah.
Because seeing his reaction that he says nothing, what does Braffen think? Yes, sir, Trout's gotten even uglier. And that is what has shocked you. We are all agreed on that. Poor Trout.
Oh god, yeah. So,
Yeah.
from whence came the hostages, and what kind of name is Howl's Keep?
Yeah,
Braffen
I
is
mean,
as yeah,
I didn't realize
yeah.
that that is not the actual name for this castle because poor Kagamandra,
And
people
we
just
very quickly
change his.
learn why it's named Howl's Keep because
Yeah,
there's 25 wolves in here.
20. The
20,
weaker
yes,
ones are
excuse me.
dead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So Braffen is as confused as Kagamandra is, and to the man's credit, he does diffuse the situation and simply asks to be taken inside where he can assess things. There's plenty of stocks to go around, as they had stockpiled 50 carcasses near the old cistern. I'm sorry, did you say cistern? Braffen amends by emphasizing the old cistern, or at least what they assumed was a cistern when Trout dug into it. So they dug a new cold cellar beside it. Well, Trout did, and stuffed the carcasses within for the hostages. Reach the top of the stairs, and Braffen formally welcomes Kagamandra to his keep. Now, why do I specify the cistern? Because a cistern is essentially an old-fashioned water tank, and
yeah,
storing dead bodies next to a water tank is they don't understand
unsanitary.
germ theory,
Yeah,
but at the very least they understand, the basics of a dead body equals bad.
yeah.
It's an invitation to get cholera. Anyway, not 3 steps within, and they happen upon one of the hostages. Jelarkan hostages, in fact. Now, Braffen reveals this information severally. Orphans,
Mhm.
hostages, Jelarkan hostages, Jelarkan hostages that appear into wolves, and it's really difficult to get through text just how
Yeah,
hilarious this fucking is. It's
yeah.
especially in an
Yeah,
audiobook, it's so much better. It's just so good.
I'll
It's so
go back
good.
and listen to this because I stopped listening halfway through. I couldn't finish it, but I'll go back and listen.
Kagamandra is so fucking exasperated, but the man like just he's trying his best because he's finally home. But
He's hungry and cold, and he's just glad that his house is still standing. And then what does
yeah,
he find? There are Jalarkan hostages just dumped on his head by his supposed friends.
yeah, yeah. Now this hostage's name is Gear, and yes, that means
Gear,
exactly what
yes,
you think it means. Yeah.
yes. Oh, I'm
Uh,
so happy to see the name. Yeah.
yeah. In case it wasn't completely obvious, Gear is one of the Hounds of Shadow, and Tulas,
Yes.
we know from the Book of the Fallen, is one of the original masters of the Hounds of
He's the
Shadow.
first master of the hounds. Yeah.
Yeah. Now Tulas is none too pleased with this and asks if the cellar has room for 2 more carcasses, which is so deadpan and so good.
It's, yeah,
It's
in
like, yeah,
case.
it's like Silchas and Scara, you say. And how many carcasses are in the cellar? About 2/3, sir. Say, does it have room for 2 more, my lord? Never mind.
Never mind. So, yeah.
Uh, this this is the first time that like Tulas and Karkanas is approaching Tulas in the Book of the Fallen. The Prince Puke of the Elaine, shall I awaken for you this hushed blade? Best save
Yeah.
that line for the next whore you beat, Silgas. Yeah, I will. It's like I
He's deadpan humor. True,
poor
true.
Tulas,
We
man.
hardly get to see him interact with the other guys, right?
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
So
Now,
um Eager is the designated cook, so Braffen is off to tell him of the Lord's arrival, while Trout, after telling Gear to basically sit down, informs the Lord that he is receiving captain's pay because of the hostages. Tulas isn't particularly fazed by this and merely requests of the captain to join him in the dining hall. Oh, and shed that miserable attitude of his, which he can't do, as that's all he has. On that note, where's Nasaras, the third captain? And to quote Trout, don't know, don't care, and don't dare ask. Which, yeah. They take their seats at the table, and Trout fills Kagamandra in on the hostage situation. 25 hostages were delivered, and about 20 remain, as they fight each other. A lot. And the weak ones die out. And there's a good chance they're not done either. And yes, that too means exactly what you think it means. 20 is fairly large, while 7 is somewhat smaller. They also veer uncontrollably. That tracks. This series of events leads Stroud and Tulas down a path of lamentation about their insistence on taking hostages. Turns out, bad idea. Braffin and Igor enter the scene, and what's left of the old company is finally reunited. Little has changed over the years of Tulas' absence too. The cooked meat is horse, great. The last one they could salvage after the hostages had their go at it, and Kagamandra offers Braffin to join them. She's hesitant, but his insistence finally wins out, at which point Igor toasts to his health. He told him when they first rode through the gate of your own estate, and he'll tell him now. Your father, my lord, was a fuckwit. Nobody wept when he died. At least not in grief.
Except
It's all
out of relief.
Yeah. It's all his now, and with the wife coming, let's hope she's strong enough to break the legs of their bed.
Strong. Let's hope she has spirit enough.
Yeah, sure. Spirit.
For
Bravado.
me, it just stood out to me.
A touch
because
of
it
daring
was-
do.
yeah. Oh my god. Can we just...
We're losing our minds. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm trying to keep my composure.
We've been through so much in this chapter with prophecy and shit. And now we're just talking about hope
That's
your
fucking
wife is,
slapstick.
breaks your bed's legs. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And now?
That isn't
Act two.
received terribly well, and Act 2. And the awkwardness is broken by the arrival of Safaro and her company. Tulas instructs Igor to return to the kitchen, Mother's blessing that, and Braffin heads to welcome the guests. Howling echoes throughout the estate, hence the name Howl's Keep. And Tulas, prompted by the dish he's currently partaking in, realizes that he may need to warn the upcoming wardens of their unique circumstances. Trout offers to stable the horses and take first watch, at which point Kagamandra makes for the gate, only to see a congestion of Savaro, Ristan, and a handful of other wardens crowding the gate, with poor Braffin attempting to hold them off. Tulas takes over the situation, dispatching Braffin and requesting Savaro keep her wardens in place while they renew their acquaintance. Yeah.
Acquaintance. Countenance their
Acquaintance?
acquaintance. No, acquaintance.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I'm being fine. Savaro begs forgiveness for misconstruing Tulas. No, just I've written acquaintance and my mind read like acquaintance. Yes. Great. Savaro begs forgiveness for misconstruing Tulas earlier, but he's in no state to bother with formalities. They're here now, and they need food and shelter. But in order to be a courteous host, he ought to inform them that their horses may be in mortal danger if they were to enter due to the presence of certain Jelarkan hostages.
Excuse me. That's not what he says.
Yeah.
He says,
What does he say?
my invitation must be qualified. And then,
Yeah.
what does Ristan say? Did you hear
Qualified?
that? What does it mean? I love Ristan, sorry.
Yeah. Now, Ristan, as more just demonstrated, incessantly protests throughout. And Savaro eventually shuts him down by telling that majority opinion doesn't hold much weight. She is sergeant, she gets to make the decisions. Ristan,
She says
among other
she's
things,
just,
Yeah.
humoring them with the voting and shit, but I outrank all of you.
Yeah. Ristan calls her, among other things, a cock-curdling liar and a tit-bag whore, and But before Savaro dismisses him and asks for clemency from
Just-
Tulas, husband,
just-
what can you do? Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, he's calling his own wife these things, and he doesn't even phase her. She's just, you're embarrassing us. Go.
20! And it goes beyond saying, but the audiobook for Ristan's amazing as well. Just
Yeah, this time is good.
everything,
Yeah.
all the slapstick, like Braffin is great, Igor is great, Trout's funny, Ristan's hilarious. Savaro and Tulas both just sound completely sick of both their shit, and they're just like, come on, let's get this over with. Yeah. It's great, it's so good. And now we go back to, Full of Light. Yeah. So,
So, this is the last
7.
section?
yeah, there's one more, and it's Shrinas.
No. After Shrinas is the last. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yeah, Shrinas.
What are we calling this? Femoral
What calls
artery
me to
damage.
life, if not desire? Which is okay. This is
Yeah.
For all
That
the
I
dumb
like.
shit that's going on in this chapter, this is a very nice written scene.
Yeah.
You have what the fuck is that prophecy even, and then you have slapstick humor, and then you have this scene just to top it all off because it's very good. Now,
It's very good because she's thirsting
yeah,
hard, is what you said.
I did not say that. That is not what I said.
Sure, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So Shariness is fleeing for a life she knows will be cut short rather quickly.
Who
Four
is
trackers
chasing her?
harry her. Yeah. Yeah.
If there are people like me who have to like stop and think, what the fuck, who's chasing Sharinas, then please remind them because this is
Yeah.
what I'm constantly
She's
doing when I'm reading.
yeah.
Yeah.
She's being harried by Legion scouts, who are guiding her towards the forest and away from the Dorton Rill, so that they may
And
capture
why are they
her before
chasing
she
her?
reaches Dragon's Keep. To capture her, and so they'll see her swing. Is I think the
And
quote
why?
they
Because
use.
she did some house cleaning last time, right?
Yeah, because she
Chopped off a few heads.
yeah,
No
here and
big
there.
deal.
So Sharinus is thereby fleeing for a life she knows will be cut short rather quickly. Four trackers harry her. The night is much too far away to cover her escape, and exhaustion will soon take over. Soon, blades will clash, blood will be spilled, and death will ensue over the forest, if only to point out the absurdity and ignominy of the civil war. She fought alongside the soldiers. Now they haunt her with murder in their eyes. Where in all this, Sharinus wonders, is the life she wanted. Peace promised so many things that never came to be. She and Kagamandra should have fled away, west to the lands of the Zathani, or even to the Logrunners, and damned Peace's legacy. What with Kagamandra's promised wife he couldn't love, and her own future devoid of passion. Peace should have won them more, a softening of heart's edges, and a refusal of the ferocity they required. Alas, I've done no
So,
such thing.
so good.
It's
Sorry.
the entire. I basically quoted the whole thing verbatim because it's just
You can
really
just
good.
do that. Yeah. No, I'm not
It's
going to say
verbatim.
anything. Yeah.
It's really good. It has done no such thing. Too many of them set their sights upon these empty chambers and saw nothing of a life worth living. Too many of them still gripped bared iron as they sought to embrace peace. They were contemptuous of such lives, since it was beneath them, for were they not warriors, harbingers of death? They could see upon the faces of their loved ones that they were ignorant of what made the soldier, ignorant of depravity's face, ignorant of what truly mattered. They were blind to the ongoing war, the war being waged excuse me, the war being waged within each of them, as they sought to lash out and shatter this illusion of peace, with which they knew to distrust. But Sharinus wanted
PTSD.
to live among them.
PTSD.
Yeah, yeah. Sharinus so yearned to live in peace, dreaming of peace in every moment of war she lived. So why, oh
Oh,
why,
Sharinas.
did it feel so shallow, so false when it finally arrived? I have a note,
No.
because
Oh, you do?
Sharinus, I do. Sharinus basically echoes Vatha Ursander from chapter 11 of FOD, almost verbatim. There's a scene between him and Serap where he says something along the lines that old soldiers cannot fit in a peaceful world, for they have devoured death and they are as ghosts. And it would be fine if their society actually supported them, but it doesn't. So a lot of those old soldiers yearned for war again so they can live again, and it's just basically what Sharina says, and it's what's horrifying about this is that they know of this, they understand this, and they do nothing about it. They just live 7,000 soldiers who fought and died and lost loved ones and comrades out there, and somehow they're the baddies. And I have no idea how
It's
Steve does this.
it's very obvious how it's happened, how we are not feeling pity for these legionnaires because we're seeing them. We mainly see Hunral everywhere. It's
Yeah,
him. If you just remove Hunral from the narrative, it's just yeah. It's it would be a very just war, whatever they're doing.
yeah,
You know, it's so sad. If after all these jokes and all that, this is like such a crash coming down.
yeah.
I'm feeling sad now. Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter.
Hmm.
It's not like she'll have much time to lament these facts when she's about to meet her maker. The hunters are converging on her position, and the clearing she finds herself in has no area for a decent last stand. Too many young trees and nothing big enough or fallen to aid her. Suddenly, one of the trackers to her left is dropped. Sharinus looks for him, but can't find him, and two other soldiers rush her. She knew both women, but there was no pause, no conversation before they rushed her. Another soldier appears, and though she deflects or dodges most of the thrusts coming her way, one manages to land on her thigh, severing the tendons, and she falls flat. A blade strikes her helm and dislodges it, while another strike knocked the sword from her hand. A woman is poised to thrust through her throat and land a coup de grace, which kind of goes against what Hunral wanted.
Right? Yeah.
But an arrow takes her down before she's able to finish the thrust. Why are we trying to kill her? I thought the whole
They
point was to
shouldn't,
capture
right?
her. Yeah.
She's just too dangerous, and they just, in the heat of things, they just lost it.
Yeah. Another soldier has been slain by a grey-skinned girl wielding a pair of gore-slick knives, while the third scout has been shot down by a couple arrows. The girl approaches, noting that too many scouts have been hunting Sharinus for her to be a simple deserter, but that doesn't matter. She wears the wrong uniform, which,
Yeah.
echoes
Right.
Glyph a lot. Yeah. It's almost like Steve was good at writing. Who knew?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the girl, Lahanis, is stopped by a voice, ostensibly Glyph's, as Sharinus will bleed out eventually, and there's plenty of hunting to be done in the near future. And I have another note, because that does mean that Sharinus is retroactively accepted by the Deniers, in spite of her being a murderer and betrayer and worse.
Is she? How?
She is being chased by too many soldiers, and Glyph is like, yeah, spare her. She's probably going to die anyway. It's fine. We're not even going to leave her be. We're not going to, because, what they do to other Legion soldiers compared to what they do to Sharinus, and relatively dignified.
Maybe.
So I think it's more like, I don't think it's a sign of respect, but in different circumstances,
Her eyes
I
are
think
already closing, so
I
there's
think in different circumstances they would have accepted her, which is ironic because she thought they would never accept her.
yeah.
But yeah. The hunters then leave Sharinus to bleed out, and a preternatural grey descends on her. Her breaths are far too shallow. Her blood is gushing out of her in waves. She's got but minutes to cling on to consciousness, and so her thoughts, of course, shift back to Kagamandra. Look at her now.
As it
The
should.
blood, as it should. The blood feels thick. It's clotting, probably due to the cold, which does cold clot blood?
It's freezing. I don't think cold clots blood. It's magic which is healing her. And
Yeah.
so there's no more active blood flow. So the
Yeah,
rest of the
yeah.
blood is just
But she just assumed
coagulating
it's
itself.
just frozen. It's fine. No, no, she's
Yeah.
actively healing while this is going on, but she just doesn't realize.
How
And
is
her
she
leg now
healing
aches.
painlessly? Don't we usually are told that if denul healing happens, it's somewhat painful?
I think she's
No?
almost in a ketamine-like trance. I think she's just lost, she's dissociating completely from blood loss.
No. It's this heading of this section. What do you call that? It's not ketamine dissociation. It's what holds me to life if not desire.
Yeah, right, yeah.
That's why she's thinking of Kagamandra, so that she's not thinking of this pain. Yeah.
Yeah. Sharinus can almost imagine she can rebuild her own broken body and walk away into the darkness. That is, by dying. Just bleak. And yet, here she lies,
She
awaiting
is,
him,
yeah.
longing for him with every inch of her being. For what keeps her alive if not desire? What vaster power exists? With it, Sharinus can defy the inevitable. It's enough to storm the highest walls, cross the deepest chasms. Desire starts in the place of a lover's arms and makes it embrace such stark comfort. And while I have some disagreements with Sharinus' contact and self-recrimination, this passage so fucking perfectly encapsulates the theme of love that Fall of Light comes back time and again, and it's beautiful.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's so good. It's just point someone who asks what is Fall of Light about, and just point them to this.
Thank you.
This person is dying. They're actively bleeding out. They have committed so many different acts of that they appreciate, that they recriminate themselves over, And as their life flashes before their eyes, all they can think of is love and desire. And that's just, yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
theme. Yeah.
Having drifted away.
How?
Yeah. One.
No, I'm just still surprised at how did Steve tell us that? No, he was not really thinking of this as a love story when he wrote it. Like, come on.
I'm fairly
Did he just?
sure he was pretty explicit that Fall of Light has one of its core themes as love. I
Did he
think he
say
didn't
that?
say that for Forge of Darkness or Carcass as a whole,
Oh,
because we mentioned
okay.
Forge of Darkness before he guys had dedicated Forge of Darkness to his wife.
Yeah.
But Fall of Light is very explicitly about love, yeah. Which we will get to in due time. There's more crazy love shit going on. And it's not just like romantic love. We went over this last episode with the husbands. Was it last episode? No, 2 episodes ago. That's 2 weeks ago. Right. With, what is like romantic love and aesthetic attraction and romantic attraction and whatnot. But yeah, there's a lot of love going on in Carcanos. And one of the themes of Carcanos is how love ushers people to do crazy shit. From granting an entire race the power of elemental night to apparently bringing someone back from the dead, which is just
And also,
technically Strange didn't die, but as good as.
yeah.
Yeah.
Would you include Spinnock in your?
You can include whatever you want, honestly. There's so many. There's like from
Yeah.
Say the love between Brazak and Delhanar, brotherly love
Yeah.
between Lanomander and Andarist. What else is there?
Hish and Grip.
Hish and Grip, yeah, very good. See, there are a lot of examples you can find throughout the books, and it's just this passage I think distills it the most. It's very nice.
It is, yeah.
God damn it. Right. Okay.
Right.
Let's wrap this up. Having drifted away, what brings Sharina's back is how hale she feels. Her breathing has steadied, the blood flow has stemmed, and her hip tendons feel as though they've been pushed back, which, by all accounts, should be impossible. She struggles to sit up, and while dim aches still permeate throughout the body, it's nothing compared to having your leg cut open to the bone. The grayness still surrounds her, and in her mind she heard mutterings and whispers. The trail looks wider, but otherwise unremarkable. She shared the same glade with 3 corpses, with the entrails of one already frosted over. How long had she been out? And more importantly, now what? There's no food present, but there is cooking gear. The hunters didn't take any of that, and the grayness is urging her to feast, as hunger and thirst take over her mind and body. Shorinus wonders if these are spirits that she inadvertently summoned, or if it's sorcery, and if it's the former, was it due to her burning desire to cling to life to find Kagamandra? But this new hunger, it was simpler. She just needed to feed. Cutting off a strip of thigh from a scout, she set off to make a fire. Now what? Now this.
Now this. Yeah.
And that's just
awesome.
a gut punch of an ending.
Awesome thing. Yeah. So.
Goddamn.
So, who healed her? How did she get healed? Who healed Sharinas?
Don't know.
What's your theory?
Probably some spirits, what you mentioned, right? Because we've already seen like these dying gods that Rennick mentions, and like sorcery abound.
Oh,
and yeah.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't think of the dying gods and all that. I thought Denul is like a dialogue between nature and people and mortals. So, because she was just so desperate to stay alive that she healed herself by calling on Denul, is what I thought. But as you said, the muttering could be like spirits of dying gods. Regardless, the end point is she now has sorcery.
Yeah. And just sorcery which is fed through feasting on diced blood. And great. But also there's mention of like this grayness, this preternatural grayness, right?
Yeah. So she is turning Edur, right? That's happening, right?
I would assume so. Like that's my guess.
Because the ultimate theme in this chapter throughout has been people turning gray.
Yeah.
So
People turning away, denying both sides. In
I'm
some
just
ulterior
waiting to
motive.
see.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see when Tulas turns gray, because the last we saw, he left Neretso before he could be blessed as
Yeah.
Leo's son, before Sintara started her thing. So these are all still defaultized.
Yeah.
God, defaultized.
Right?
Do you
I
have
do
anything
believe
more? Yeah.
we may have surpassed the audiobook. I'm gonna have to look. Hang on.
I think by a few minutes we did. Yeah.
We did.
I,
We did. Yeah. Great.
shit.
Um,
We should be
yeah.
ashamed of ourselves, and yeah. Right.
This is what we call summarizing, I guess.
But we are going. The audio, if the narrator had his way, I'm sure he would have stopped and laughed as much as us, and he would have taken longer. Do you want to wind up? I think
Yeah, sure.
we brought up all the things we needed to.
I believe so. I hope so. I had like
And
15 different notes that I brought up, so I hope it was comprehensive enough.
and the next two chapters are again, it's still yours.
Yours truly, yeah.
I
And
I don't know how you're going to do it. Yeah.
I'm gonna be geeking out because there's a few things I want to bring up next episode. And yeah,
Nice. So I can be an audience for 2 more episodes.
yeah.
Fun. Bye.
Yeah. Goodbye. Good night.
Good night.